Now we are about to discuss peripheral nervous system. See, basically, if you look at this figure, it shows that there are two parts, dorsal roots and ventral roots. Right. So, after many experiments, scientists had understood that parts are connected to our spinal cord. They showed that nerves attached to the spinal cord have two types of roots. So, what if the nerves are connected to spinal cords? How many types of root they have? Two types. Dorsal roots are those which are at the back side of the spinal cord. Ventral roots are those which are at the front side of the spinal cord. Right? So, two types of roots are there, dorsal roots and ventral roots. And some experiment had been done by some scientists, remember the names, right, given in your book. In that experiment, they showed that if the dorsal roots of an animal were cut down, then animal did no reaction. So if we cut the dorsal roots, means the roots which are at the back side of the spinal cord, then animal did no reaction. But as long as we touch the ventral roots, the animal started behaving violently. That means it started responding very violently. It means the ventral roots are going to control the muscular activity, not the dorsal roots. So with this experiment they showed that dorsal roots controls nothing in our muscular activity, but ventral roots will control the muscular activity. That's why when we cut the dorsal roots of animal, they did nothing. But as long as we just even touch the ventral roots, they started behaving very violently. Understood about this? Right. Now, in 1822, they suggested that dorsal roots will carry messages inwards, while ventral roots will bring out the messages. Means, dorsal roots will take signal from outside to spinal cord. Ventral roots will bring response from spinal cord to muscles. Right, that's why they are animals will become aggressive with the ventral root, because in that ventral roots only action will be stored. Right. Dorsal roots will have only information. Whatever happened on our body surface will reach to our spinal cord. Whereas ventral roots will bring response. And according to that response, our muscles will answer it. Right. Clear? Now what is PNS? It is the system of collection of dorsal roots and ventral roots. So the system of collection of dorsal roots and ventral roots is known as PNS. Right. And okay, where they are connected at all has been shown here. Ultimately, these all are linked to the brain and spinal cord. On one end will be brain and spinal cord, and on other end they will be connected to muscles. So these roots, dorsal roots or ventral roots, they are like connection between brain and muscles. Brain and spinal cord, that means CNS, and muscles. In between these two, there is one network. That network is called as PNS. That is a network made up of dorsal roots and ventral roots. Right? Clear about this now? They are like connection. So one end of this PNS will be brain or spinal cord. Another end of this PNS will be muscles. Right? Now, this PNS, actually ANS is the continuation of that. PNS can involuntarily control many systems in our body, like blood vessels, internal organ functioning, cardiac muscles means heartbeat, breathing, everything will be controlled by PNS, involuntarily. Involuntarily means it will happen automatically. We cannot control. That's why it is also called as autonomous nervous system. So PNS will control all involuntary actions. That's why it is also known as ANS. Okay? It has voluntary control as well as of some muscles of some areas. See, obviously it does involuntary control of many things, but in some areas of our skin and skeleton system, it does some voluntary control also. Voluntary control means these are those controls which can be managed by us. We can easily control them. Suppose heartbeat is involuntary. Even though we say to our brain, reduce the heartbeat. Will it reduce the heartbeat? No. These are involuntary. Voluntary means like we want to slap somebody. It's about choice. Our brain can control it. If we want, we can slap. If we don't want, we may not slap it. So these are voluntary. So some of the voluntary activities are even controlled by PNS. Okay? Right? But mostly it will do the work of involuntary actions. That's why it is also called as ANS. Clear about this now? See, under ANS many things are there, like heartbeat, right? Like our pupil size will increase or decrease, right? That is also comes under ANS, as well as many things like pupil size they gave here, heartbeat we can explain. Okay, only two examples have been given. See, suddenly when you go from dark room to light room, flashlight, we read in human eye, our pupil will increase its size when you go to dark room. When you go to flashlight, pupil will decrease its size. This comes under voluntary or involuntary? Obviously, involuntary, right? This comes under ANS and as well as PNS. So that pupil example you can explain, and as well as you can explain the heart work also, heartbeat. It is also ANS. We can even explain example of respiratory system. That is also ANS. Now you may think, sir, respiratory system we can control it, right? Yeah, we control. We can control only for few seconds. After that we cannot control it. We should even not try for that. Getting, because it is purely involuntary. Getting, only for some seconds we may control it, but the outcome will be very dangerous if we try to control the respiratory system. Okay, clear about this now? That's it. Some examples you write out of your own ideas. Okay, so now you can understand about PNS and ANS. So this was the part of ANS